Fiji's Imperialism by Ryan Johnson. Fiji is anyone's paradise. It is located northeast of the main island of New Zealand. Has about 333 islands, but all the population is on the main island of Viti Levu. This map indicates all of the islands of Fiji. Even though it is argued that the British helped Fiji progress, in reality, they decimated Fiji's rights, religion, and culture. Captain James Cook sailed to Fiji in 1774. He didn't mean harm, but rather he came with 5 intentions. Number 1. To endeavor by every fair means to cultivate a friendship with the natives, and to treat them with all imaginable humanity. A proper person or persons will be appointed to trade with the natives for all manner of provisions, fruits, and other productions of the earth, and no officer or seaman, other person belonging to the ship, excepting such as are so appointed, shall trade or offer trade for any sort of provisions, fruit, or other productions of the earth, unless they have my leave to do so. Number 3. Every person employed on shore on any duty whatsoever is strictly to attend the same, and if by neglect he loseth any arms or working tools, or suffers thee to be stole, the value thereof will be charged against his pay, according to the customer in the navy in such cases, as he shall receive such further punishment as the nature of the offense may deserve. Number 4. The same penalty will not be inflicted upon every person who is found to embezzle trade or offer to trade with any of the ship's stores of what nature soever. Number 5. No sort of iron, or anything that is made of iron, or any sort of cloth or useful necessary article, are to be given in exchange for anything provision. Captain Cook did everything in his power for him and his crew to obey a few simple rules, and he did so, but the rest of his country, not so much. The British military came to Fiji later on and was taking natives and shipping over Indians from India to work on sugar plantations. Harsh conditions and no pay. This is when the rights of the natives were decimated. Anything that the natives were accustomed to beforehand has gone under the British rule for 96 years. The British had harsh rules during imperialism in all the countries they overrun. Women would be raped and men would be killed in certain cases. Fiji finally achieved independence in 1970 after almost a century under British rule. Fijians could vote a few years later, peacefully and free. This was a comeback for Fiji. They have not done anything by themselves for over 90 years. Today, Fiji is democratically run with a prime minister named Lysenia Karase. In the 1830s, missionaries from all over came to Fiji and immediately came to convert Fijians to Christianity. How would you feel if randomly different looking dressed people you've never met before showed up and told you to drop all your beliefs? You would feel pretty shocked and clueless. For example, George Brown. At the age of 24, George decided to go to Fiji as a mission trip, right after he married a woman named Lydia Brown in 1860. In Fiji, he learned the language and studied the culture. As harmless as missionaries were, they still were corrupting the natives, slowly forgetting about traditional things. George wrote a few things while in Fiji, such as, he walked up to the mission house, unkempt, shaking river sand from his clothes and speckled with insect bites. The watching family was not offended, even if a little startled. Any traveler from Auckland, they knew, would have been on the track for the most tramping through rain-soaked bush and fern. The young man had reached the northern shore after dark, nearly in sight of his destination. Unable to find a friendly Maori who would supply a canoe so late, he had half buried himself in the dry river stand to escape insects and waited for daylight. George's Brown first day on Fiji. George went through Fiji and Samoa in 5 years, from eight from 1859 to 1864, preaching about Christianity and learning about the culture. Many of the natives liked the idea of modernization, others not so much. Today, Fiji is home to many religions, mainly Christianity, thanks to people like George. Fiji is 52% Christian, 37% Methodist, 38% Hindu, 8% Muslim, and 2% other. The missionaries were threatened, mainly because natives didn't want them to be there. But do you think the missionaries wanted to be there either? Not at all. George was married and just left, and if you read his whole journal, he writes about her every day. But in life, all people have strifes that they have to work through, like George did. It wasn't only the British in the 19th century that the Fijians were being taken advantage of. During World War II, many soldiers came and set foot onto Fiji and was using their land as war territory. Here's a quick video about wounded soldiers and supply planes in World War II.
Faithful Burmese nurses, seasoned members of Seagrave staff, have worked with the doctor since the Japanese invasion of Burma in 1942. Burmese in their eyes, working hand in hand to save an embattled people. High above the more inaccessible regions of Burma, giant transport planes carry food and equipment to outposts that can be reached only by air. Over the Naga Hills on the Burma-India border, packs are dropped by parachute with amazing accuracy. Another outpost, high on a narrow mountain ridge. A small target, but the supplies land right on the spot. At Bougainville in the Solomon Islands, Fiji troops fighting with the United Nations forces deep in the interior must also be served by air transport. By radio, they contact the supply plane. The chutes land almost on top of the camp. No outpost is too remote for these supply trains of the air.
Fijians, as well as many other countries, or soon-to-be countries, have fallen and been bullied by imperialism. Imperialism is never okay unless you see a country in need of help. Some may view Fiji as in need of assistance, but just because they don't have governmental views or religion as other countries, or if they don't have guns or massive boats, or wear expensive clothing, doesn't mean they are dumb, weak, or cannot rely on their own resources and family. In conclusion, the world keeps turning, and the history made all these countries the way they are today. Thank you.